So, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, Jar of Marble dwellers and Jar of Marble curious. I'm so glad that you have been able to make it with us today. I'm really glad too, as is Bob's always glad. We're glad that you made it. This week, I wanted to talk a little bit about things that I have discovered. Now, isn't it interesting as you pass through, another year of your life, and in my case, I'm passing through my 62nd year, and I'm going to be turning 63. I'm not sure that was necessary to go on you. I have noticed that I have truly committed to aging well. It's a conscious decision. I've been doing this honestly for at least the last 10 years. Now, more than ever, I have a strong intention to age well. Seeing as I am becoming more aged, I may as well make it a good one, and I'm really determined to do that. I know, Bob. I have come up with 8 things that I am discovering as I commit to living my life vitally and well. So here we go. Number 1, I am no longer loyal to my previous self. What? Yeah, I'm not betraying my current self. What does that mean? Well, I know. I know you were going to ask that question. Well, I wasn't really, but okay, you're right. So what it means is getting out of the past, be it good or bad. We are not the same person, and so we have to apply ourselves in a different way. I knew I shouldn't have asked. Watch it, Bob. Okay. What was once a good time or acceptable no longer applies. Same for things that may have seemed too boring or not relevant are most welcome. Like comfortable underpants, early nights, grandchildren, oh yeah, all right, family, friendships, creating. For starters, I'm in my 60s and I am 63 this year. Well, yeah, you keep on saying that. Well, I can hardly believe it. Perhaps if I mention it a few times, it'll sink in. Hashtag things I'm discovering. I'm thinking more often I'm much more wide awake about my life each day moving forward. I do not want and I'm not interested in betraying who I am now. I'm not backing down to accommodate the old me. I've changed. What was a good time then? It's not a good time now. Nothing new there. Many of us know this. Many of us too may be surprised to find that with such change, adjustments in oneself essentially emerge. It's not a myth, it's real. So the old meal... Shut up, Bob. So the old me, that's a no deal. All right, Bob. That was for my husband. It's a joke with us. Hashtag things I am discovering. It includes shedding loyalties that do not align with who I am now. Does any of this ring a bell for you? Is this something that you are aware of in your life or you've already sorted it? I have friends that I have an automatic loyalty to, and simply because in some cases I've known them for 40 or 50 years. You're really old. That's right, Bob, and so are you. It's not always based, in some cases, on an ongoing, loving, fun friendship. You really are really, really old. Yep, I am. Aren't you scared you'll die soon? No, Bob. Now, that's not to say I don't value my friendships of that length of time. I am fortunate that I am still friends with someone I went to primary school with and others in my 10 years and beyond. It is just that some had to go because it meant I had to be the person I was to sustain the friendship. Oh, yeah, that's so true. I know, Bob. And as you know, Marble Dwellers, when you are being loyal to yourself, some just have to be allowed to die. Drift off and away out of your life. It takes 2, and I'm just not into this interpretive dance as in doing the yards on my own in the friendship stakes. Like most of us, been there and done that. The old self, no. The new self, hell yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Bill. And the second thing I've discovered as I commit to living vitally at 62 years old, going on 63, yes, is staying away from people who think you're arguing every time you're expressing an opinion, especially if it's something that clearly disagrees with them. You begin to see that certain subjects cannot even be touched in their presence. So that's got to go, as my odometer or odometer is starting to move closer to, oh, here we go, 63. That's right. I realise and know that life is not often fair. Shit, no. Absolutely cruel in spots, but it is still good. Not widely recognised as being fact, a paraphrase of a line from George Bernard Shaw's play Back to Methuselah. Life is not meant to be easy, my child, but take courage. It can be delightful. In 1971, former Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Fraser, famously said, life wasn't meant to be easy. Yeah, and it kind of proved prophetic. Guess he was quoting George.
My mother was going to call me George.
Thanks for that, Bob.
You're welcome.
And I recall for a number of years that so many people's catchphrase was, back then, life wasn't meant to be easy. Coming from a Polly, it was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Polly as a politician. The important thing was to find the balance between the struggles and the successes and try extra hard to not get lost in all the clutter.
Sometimes you can get really lucky in life.
You sure can, Bob. It can feel like that for sure.
Except my luck is like a bald guy that just won a comb.
No, for sure we can feel like we're on some kind of roll. We say to one another, hey, you better buy a lotto ticket. We usually don't. The third thing, a hurdle is an obstacle, but a barrier can be a blockage. Now, don't confuse the two. Some of you may feel like you're staring the barrel of a blockage. Down the barrel of a blockage, I should say. Someone may have told you that there's no solution to a situation, that it's completely backed up.
Sounds like toilet talk there.
What, Bob?
Blockage, solution, backed up.
Hang in there, Bob. All will be clear soon. It is absolutely perspective. Nowadays, when I can see clearly without doubt that I have a mighty challenge before me, I instinctively think and say, we'll find a way forward. One way or another, we will. And we will, one way or another. And it may not be what we wanted to experience or envisage as next steps, but it is still something we can push against and move the obstacle out of the way. You'll be able to keep moving. Life has given me, as all of us, some pretty damn good challenges and still does. And for myself, I apply that when I see there's a chance I might get stuck. It may not alter the outcome, and let's face it, some outcomes are ordinary, some are final, but I still have to have a bit of a jig in the middle of it, in spite of it anyway. So the fourth is your grass might be as green as it's ever going to be.
I know, I like that.
I know, I like that too. You may have tried other grass. You may have even fertilised other grass. Other grass may have been fake grass. And you wanted that grass. And it wasn't even bloody real. Often we think that it will be better somewhere else. In some cases, I bet it is. But in my case, I've lived a portion of my life believing that the grass was greener anywhere other than my grass. So that old comparison thing, because no matter what you think you know, you're comparing your life to a fake version of someone anyway.
Oh, I like that.
I know. And as one gets older, there's a whole lot of that not happening. I'm very happy with my grass, and as it is, some bloke mows mine. That's about all I have to do with it. Suits this queen-ager just fine. This is very helpful to my mental health and happiness. Comparison can be the thief of joy, and it can be so uninspiring when we're, worrying about other people's grass, or maybe I'd be happier on that lump over there. You won't. But anyway, moving on. Maybe you will. Just depends on the grass, I suppose. I believe that we realise after a time in our 60s,
here we go.
Oh, shut up, Bob, that certain traits or thinking are not a part of your life anymore. You realise something that may have bugged the heck out of you just doesn't register at all anywhere in your body as in a worry or an anxiety. Oh, I tell you what, it's bloody bliss.
What is?
Realising that the nightmares are long over.
Oh, that sounds really good.
A nightmare over is always a good thing, Bob.
Yes. Hey, I reckon we should start referring to age as levels.
I'm listening, Bob.
I'm at age 62. Sounds more badass than just being an old person.
I'm just happy to be standing, Bob, but I like where you're going with this. Hashtag things I'm discovering. The fifth thing is I do like the idea. I love the idea of relying on myself.
And me?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. But I do like the idea of my own validation. I believe it is so important because, well, for a number of reasons, external validation can be fleeting. It can make you anxious and ultimately insecure. None of this ever occurred to me until I got spat out of some revolting situations years ago. Like all of us, hindsight is bloody gold.
It's magic.
It is, Bob. You see it all clearly, and even better, when you don't blame anyone or especially yourself, you just watch it and you remember and you forgive the whole thing and
Move on.
that's right. This is the thing with learning lessons and acknowledging aspects of the past, the valuable.
Invaluable.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Bob. The invaluable lessons learned. Eye-opening, and it feels like a springboard into your authentic life, into a life where you're just being you, no double guessing, and you know it's authentic because you're happy, and I am happy.
So am I.
I know, Bob. Working on having your own back is an everyday affair, especially if you're up to your neck in change. The idea of having your own back only comes into play when you actually have to enforce it. Call upon your own warrior spirit and bloody walk your talk, I say. And as you know, marble dwellers, everyone makes mistakes and you have to cut yourself a break as you do others. But more importantly, telling yourself that you're doing your best and that is enough.
It is enough.
It absolutely is, Bob. Things I am discovering is that I do validate myself and it feels completely normal. For a time I had to be really disciplined about remembering to validate myself and not get caught up in anyone else's. I wouldn't expect any less from myself. And when I say it out loud, as in on here, I am aware that it could sound a little
Pompous.
no, Bob. More could sound a little perhaps self-absorbed, but that is the problem I see, is it needs to be normalised that you can be grateful to yourself for the strengths that you have developed. Yeah, that's right, and that you have contributed to, by way of time and effort, to your own well-being. In this instance, to my own well-being. Yeah, it involved discipline and a ton of self-care, and it means I get to walk with genuine peace in my heart, even when the shit is hitting the fan.
Oh, lovely that is.
Yeah, I think so, Bob. Bottom line, Bob, if you're going to spend as much time with yourself, you may as well start having your back. Always have your back. I know what table I want to sit at.
Table?
Yeah, with the ones that respect themselves, are in the process of looking out for themselves, all growth stuff, and are perfectly okay with it. And so mote it be. Oh.
I know.
I know. Good on you, Bob. Okay, and the sixth thing, being a grandparent. Oh,
Here we go.
watch it, Bob.
I know you love being a grandparent.
Oh, I do. And as a grandparent, I get to give a whole bunch of love because to us grandparents, our grandchildren are a part of us just as our kids are. The love you receive from a grandchild is a bonus love that can never be taken for granted because it's just so tender and it's a love that sticks to you for all time. It's a very special kind of love. It is one of the greatest blessings of my life.
Well, not to brag, but I remembered why I went into the other room the other day.
Good on you, Bob. Spending the time that I have with my grandson, and it has been a lot of one-on-one time, it gave me, well, it just feels like a clean slate. So pure and sweet, funny, playful, brought out the protectiveness that I had when my own children were small. It brought out all the giggly, happy feelings. It brought me right into his world and we became and are solid friends. We play for hours together. I wasn't trying to scroll on my phone while not engaging with him. I wasn't trying to watch TV or have a chat with a pal while being with him. My time with him was all and is always about him and I being together. It has given me a most precious gift. I discovered a deep capacity to love that I guess I always had, but this was conscious. I was fully aware of it. I'm a good grandma. I love being in his life. And I adore his excitement when he sees me. He jumps up and down and he says, Mima, Mima, Mima. That's what he calls me. It's so gorgeous. This heart of mine needed that embrace, that welcome and that feeling of being chosen.
Well, they do say that you attract what you fear.
Yeah, well, I'm so scared of, finding $10 million.
Yeah, no,
And yeah, I think you're trying to say that the relationship that I have with my grandson,
sometimes you may have feared you would never have.
well, you know what? I'm quite impressed with that, Bob. In a way, maybe that's true. During that time, I reflected on my relationship with myself. I could safely, because I was in the company of an angel child who, simply by his presence, made me feel like I mattered.
Oh,
I know. I didn't realise how bad I was feeling inside, or alone, or empty. Geez, just pick one. Anywho,
why did the farmer name his horse Mayo?
dunno why.
Because mayonnaise.
Delete my number, Bob. Hashtag things I'm discovering. This is the sixth thing. Some disconnections will bless your life. Of course, it won't feel like that with every disconnection. I'm certain all of us have experienced this. Sometimes it is in the losing that we gain the most. If you're going through it right now, the loss of the strains of toxicity will flood your being with pure lightness. People can intentionally and repeatedly do and say things that they know upset you. It messes with your head. They expect you to prioritise them, and yet do not prioritise you in any fashion. Can't and won't apologise sincerely. Now that's just, what part of that is a...
Big fat get out of my house.
I like that, Bob.
Yeah, me too. Like, goodness, great.
Exactly, Bob. Good on you. See, Bob, I like growth. Change is scary, but change is growth.
Bring it on.
And I've seen it many times in my own life to be a major advocate for self-work.
Don't I know that?
Well, you would, Bob. Hashtag things I'm discovering. Number 7. I'm not one for feeling guilty for looking out for myself, aside being a total kook. I'm also a pragmatist. Weird combo, but it works very well for me. I'm sensible and I laugh a lot.
You're telling me.
There's nothing worse than hearing someone apologising for their slice of air. You can see they're talented, skilled, gorgeous, clever, lovely, and yet they're so beaten down. It's a hard thing to witness. The older I get, I know I can't do a damn thing about it except be kind and open when I'm in their company, hoping that one day they can see their value. At varying stages in my younger years, say my early to late 30s, 3 kids, missing, absent father and doing it hard in spots, I was in very hard circumstances, and I know depending on whose company I was in, they may have seen me in this way too. And you only get the odd bit of confirmation, say when you meet someone that you haven't seen for many years, decades even, and as they say, sometimes it's, the past that gives you the information that you need for today, or feedback or reflection that you might not otherwise have. And one lady did say to me, I hadn't seen her for decades, and she went, "My God, you're so strong now." Just kind of sort of popped out of her mouth, and there was no way that she could have realised how much she helped me, or more, really to the point, gave me the opportunity for reflection. So thank you for that. Thank you, dear heart. But it got me thinking later about who I was and what I was going through at that time and what I was balancing and what I was being subjected to how far I had come. And like all of us, isn't it wonderful when you get to that place where you go, wow, I'm really not that person anymore. And after a good thing, I thought, yeah, she's right. I'm not that woman anymore. But man, I was in fact strong to have endured what I did while raising 3 children. I earned a few stripes during that period. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Could be said that in the losing, we gain the most.
So true. Yes.
It won't make sense unless you've been hit around the head with a big, wet,
smelly
fish. That's right. Yep, for sure. Good on you, Bob. Oh, hashtag things I'm discovering. As I'm hashtagging along here, it's making me realise that I could talk about so many things that I have discovered, that I am discovering. Is it a 60s thing?
You were born in the 60s.
Yes, I was, but I'm referring to being in my 60s.
When did you start going grey?
Well, when I was about 19, 20.
I found my first grey pubic hair today. Normally that wouldn't bother me, but it was in my chicken wrap.
Oh, oh, Bob. It's funny, sort of. I have become accustomed to having a confidence building in my strength, simply knowing who I am. And
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? It's all you really need. Even from the deepest ruins, as you heal yourself mindfully, you understand that the forgiveness is for you and not for them.
Oh, yeah. And if you see me talking to myself, just move along. I'm self-employed. We're having a staff meeting.
I do often wonder who you're chatting to, Bob.
Well, now you know.
Yes, I do. Yeah, so sometimes people are on journeys that we're not a part of, and that's okay. All the more reason to have your own path, your own interests, your own back, your own reliancy on yourself, because when push comes to shove, you had better have your own back. Yes, it is great to have friends and family who are there, but sometimes it is something that only you can do, and sometimes you have to do it alone. Sometimes you want to be alone. Sometimes you don't want to explain, and there will be 1,000 reasons why for all of us. Hashtag things I'm discovering. Here's a clanger. Normalise ending friendships with people who still support people who've hurt you. Oh, boom. Oh, yeah, for sure. I had that as a very distinct experience. I had no idea that it was so important until I got spat out the other end of it, as you do, when you're in a toxic friendship, say, in this case, that's what I'm talking about. I'm certain that many of us who have experienced this, many of you will for sure, they'll say, been there, done that.
Never again?
It's the stop allowing those who are absent with themselves to be present with you.
Oh, boy.
I know. Good, isn't it?
You're on fire today.
It's not a you thing, it's a them thing. And it will also become a you thing if you insist on staying around them.
Yeah, it's so true.
No. Being brave enough to see the truth, and it is just awful. It's a goodbye that you've been resisting for a while. And then the day comes, the clock strikes midnight, and it's see you later, man. And if having genuine conversations is how you like to vibe, it sure is how I like to be, then you're never going to have that with someone who is not authentic with themselves.
Surely that's a self-worth thing.
Well, Bob, yeah, it is. It's a part of that road of gathering up tools, and one of those mighty tools are self-worth. It is the releasing of self-deception, the reminder, and we all need it, questions to ask. I've asked myself, anyone can ask themselves, how much have you spoken, about your needs, your wants and your truth in and of all of your relationships? Sounds basic, but it's really challenging. Where have you let your energy and time go? Towards people and things that are maybe not best serving you anymore? This will only make sense if you've done this or it is something you know you're going to do. The day just arrives. It all starts with us. Every single thing in our lives. A bit of self-reflection is a great thing to invest in. Asking yourself questions, have a good think about what you really think or believe. You'll always find space, if not for improvement, but perhaps somewhere to put more of your energy into a part of your significant life. And that's it.
No way.
Yes, way. Time to say goodbye.
Oh,
look, Bob. We'll come back. I'd just like to thank you all for coming to listen to us today. 2024 is racing along. Again, another year going in so fast. And as always, so quickly. Hope you're discovering new insights into your life. So say good day to the family for me. Give the horse a 2-beat movement. And we'll see you next time, okay? Okay then. Bye.
Bye.